Hello everybody and welcome back to another match preview video. For this time it's AFC Wimbledon versus Cheltenham Town away from home in the third game in Sky Bet League 2 for the 2024-25 season. It's going to be a good game. Both teams are really wanting a win. Both teams lost in their last game of the season on Saturday. So both teams are looking to get a decent result in, bounce back from a defeat, and yeah, it will be an interesting game. In today's video, we're going to go through everything you need to know about Cheltenham Town versus AFC Wimbledon on Saturday, 3 p.m. It's going to be a good one. So let's get into the match preview video. So as I said in the intro, it's Cheltenham Town versus AFC Wimbledon in the third Sky Bet League 2 game of the 2024-25 season on Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff. I will be there. There will be a match day vlog. But before we have a matchday vlog on Saturday and the game, let's talk about the game itself. It's 10th versus 11th in the league, both on 3 points. Both have had one win and one loss in the league, and both winning on the first game of the season and both losing in the last game out on Saturday. The last time out against Cheltenham, a lot of Wimbledon fans remember it. It was the FA Cup last season. They were obviously in League One at the time. They sadly got relegated from the league in last season, so they will be looking to bounce back up. Haven't really started too well. But both teams, as I said, 10th versus 11th, same points. They just have a little bit more better goal difference than us. So that's why they're above us in the table. But last time out, Wimbledon did beat them 5-1 at home, which was an absolutely great result. Boosted the confidence for a lot of the players. James Tilley scored a couple goals. Josh Davison, Ali Al-Hamadi. If we can have that James Tilley back for this game, that will be brilliant. Will he start? Probably not. But yeah, so last time out was a massive 5-1 win against Cheltenham in the FA Cup. They didn't have the best squad at the time, probably do have a better one now. But yeah, they weren't on good form. We were on decent form trying to push for the playoffs last season. So we definitely got the momentum, won the game, but then, yeah. So that was a really good result against Cheltenham. As Cheltenham are the home team, we are going to be talking about them first. Their manager, Michael Flynn, really experienced manager. He's been at Newport for 4 years, I believe it was. He's been at Walsall for the 2022-23 season. So he's a very experienced manager in League One, League Two. He's very well known. He's probably a manager which a lot of clubs have got their eye on, that probably wanted him after he left Walsall. But Cheltenham have got him a really good manager to have. As I said, experienced in the league, knows the league very well, and I'm sure he can get some pretty good signings in, as they have done. Let's talk about Cheltenham's first couple games of the season then. So they started the season on the 10th of August, first game of the season, beating Newport County 3-2, Michael Flynn's former club. So that's an interesting result. It seems like they do lack goals. So I think Wimbledon, especially as we have 4 strikers up front, we can really utilise. We need to really utilise our attacks, counter attacks, because I think they do have a pretty leaky defence. In 3 games, they've conceded 10 goals, and only scored 4. So they can score goals, but they can also, seems like they do concede a lot of goals. But 8 of those goals have been teams to teams in higher divisions in cup games. But still, it's not what you want for the confidence of the players going into another game. So yeah, Cheltenham beat Newport 3-2 on the first game of the season, and then they played Bristol City in the first round of the Carabao Cup, losing 3-0 to them. It's a pretty tough game. Championship sides coming to your home ground, it's never going to be easy, so they lost 3-0 then. They lost 5-1 to Plymouth, which isn't a really good result as well. And then they lost 3-2 to Grimsby Town away from home in their second league game of the season. So they do definitely leak goals, but it will be interesting to see if we go with a pacey striker up front, if we go for 2 strikers who are the same height, Bugle and Piggott, or we go for Stevens and Kelly, or we go for the same combination that we've had for Colchester and Bromley with Omar Bugle and Matty Stevens, which I think always works. Omar Bugle works his socks off, and Matty Stevens also works his socks off, but is a very different striker to Omar Bugle. So let's talk about Cheltenham's top players. Joe Colwell has been an attacking midfielder. He started very well. He's on loan. from a club in League One, I believe. He's had 2 matches, 2 goals and 1 assist, which, to be honest, is pretty good for a start to life in League Two for the season. Luke Young, midfielder, former of Wrexham, he came on the other day to score against Grimsby Town, so that's really good for the confidence of him. Ryan Bowman, striker, former striker of Shrewsbury, experienced in League One, in the league above, so he definitely knows how to do it in League One, so he's looking to get loads of goals in League Two and get Cheltenham back to League One, where they want to go. An interesting thing to talk about is Cheltenham's defeat, their 3-2 defeat to Grimsby Town on Saturday, saw both goal scorers coming off the bench and scoring their 2 goals. This could mean that Cheltenham maybe had a lineup which they were expecting to be good, and it could massively change. That was Luke Young, who came on, former of Wrexham last season, played 32 games for them, so he's experienced in League One. A lot of their signings that they've made have been experienced, older age players that are coming down the league to try and get the experience up in the squad. They had a pretty young squad last season, so that might mean that Michael Flynn is trying to change it a little bit, trying to get more experienced players in, which I think is a really good idea. You need a massive mix of experience, young players who are only just coming into the league, but experience is massive, as there's many teams who have got amazing players, experienced players that could easily play in higher divisions. So I think that's a really good way to go for Michael Flynn and Cheltenham. But as I said, both goal scorers came off the bench to score against Grimsby, so maybe we could see a massive change lineup. As I said, Luke Young got one of those goals, and Matty Taylor got one of those goals as well, which we all know about Matty Taylor, former of Oxford United, former Forest Green last season, played against us, I believe, only at their home ground in that game. He was on loan. So maybe we could see them come in, and I think they would definitely give a bigger threat if you have Ryan Bowman, striker, former Shrewsbury last season, and then you have Matty Taylor to come in. I think that is a pretty good duo up top that could definitely cause AFC Wimbledon some havoc. But I wouldn't undeny Cheltenham. They have got a pretty good squad, a very good experienced manager, and they know where they want to be for the end of the season. I think, as we said, they have leaked goals a lot, so I think Wimbledon, we've got a really good attack. We've got 4 strikers to choose from. Our both wing backs, if we choose to play that formation, James Furlong and Josh Newville, if we decide to go with that. I expect it to be like that. I think can easily pounce on Cheltenham's defence and get a couple of goals in on Saturday. I'm pretty confident for the game. Obviously, Cheltenham fans, let me know down your thoughts in the comments on how you think you'll do against us. When you look at the league table, both teams are on the same points, but I think Wimbledon have got the better team when you look at it, especially because we aren't leaking as many goals. We've got a pretty strong defence, and we'll talk about another defender coming in for Wimbledon in a minute, which I expect. So I expect the lineup to have 1 or 2 changes. But yeah, so we've talked about Cheltenham, pretty good squad, could go either way, as that's how football works. But yeah, let's get into the second half of the video and talk about AFC Wimbledon. So we have talked about the home side, Cheltenham Town. They have got, as I said, a pretty good squad, really good manager, a lot of experienced players in their squad. But let's now talk about AFC Wimbledon. We've had 4 games so far in the season, 2 of them in the league and 2 of them in the cup. We started with a 4-2 win over Colchester United on the 10th of August, first game of the season. Went 2-0 down, leaked goals, which we didn't really want to see. But then the usual AFC Wimbledon at home, getting behind the team, as the fans getting behind the team. And then the players scored 4 goals after going from 2-0 down. So that's really good to see that whenever we go 1-0, 2-0 down, we can find a way through. We can still score goals. Yes, we maybe got lucky on a couple of them, but that is how football works. We then went to Bromley on a Tuesday night in the first round of the Carabao Cup and won 2-1 away at Bromley, which was a really good result. Yes, we went 1-0 down again, which is disappointing. I want to see us maybe score a goal before the other team does. That would be good to see. But yeah, so Bromley went 1-0 up. We scored 2 more goals, Josh Kelly and Joe Pigott. Really good to see them score. And then it was a disappointing one on Saturday. We lost 2-0 to Bromley. A lot of Wimbledon fans saw of how much of a changed lineup we had. We made 7 changes in the cup, and you would think the squad that we have on Saturday was even stronger, but it wasn't meant to be. Michael Cheek got a goal, and I can't remember who the other one was for Bromley, but they were a better team. Yes, we maybe started the game well as we did in the cup game, and then they found the goal. It's kind of the same story the first half. We started really well for the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then they go on the counter and score one of their first opportunities, and then they just defended really well. They have 6'5", 6'6" defenders. So yeah, we tried to change it, but it just wasn't meant to be. I think Bromley will do pretty well this season. Like the bookies and everyone's predictions are putting them rock bottom or in the relegation zone. I just don't think it'll happen. I think if they don't have injuries, then they could easily be in maybe the mid-table-ish by the end of the season. The lineup that Wimbledon. Oh no, sorry, I've still got another game to talk about. Wimbledon did beat Wickham 1-0 in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy on Tuesday night. Good result, very changed lineup. It's good to see that we kept a clean sheet. Riley Harbottle started in that game, and I expect him to come in against Cheltenham on the weekend, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, that was a pretty good result. Wickham were the finalists in the competition last season. They narrowly lost out to Peterborough in the 90 minutes. So yeah, that's pretty good to see that we beat the finalists of last season. A lot of Wickham fans were disappointed. Yes, they had a lot of chances. So maybe it easily could have been maybe a Wickham win, but then Bugle came on, scored a really good goal. Pigott had another really good chance in the second half just after Bugle scored. So we could have easily won 2-0, but I think if Wickham were more clinical, took their chances that they had probably 2 or 3 very, very clear-cut chances. So we maybe should have been 2, maybe 3-0 down before Omar Bugle even got onto the pitch and scored the goal. But it is what it is. It's really good to see that we won that game. I think it's a decent competition. I know not a lot of fans like it, but I think if you get far, it's a Wembley day out at the end of the day. So everyone would love that. I wanted to talk about the lineup that we had against Bromley on Saturday. We had Goodman in goal, Johnson, Lewis and Ogundare, Furlong and Newville as the wing-backs, Reeves, Ball, Smith in the middle three, and Bugle and Stevens up front. I think there will be definitely one change, maybe 2 changes that we could see in the starting 11 against Cheltenham. The one that definitely could happen is I do believe Riley Harbottle will come in against Cheltenham Town to replace Isaac Ogundare. Yes, Isaac Ogundare has been pretty decent. He's been pretty good in the first 4 games of the season. But I just feel like he has a mistake in him. Yes, he's young, but it's not his primary position. He wants to play right back, right wing back, and he does drift over a lot. So that does leave a pretty big gap in the defence as well. So I think maybe bringing Riley Harbottle in, it seemed like against Wickham he was pretty solid from what Wimbledon fans have been saying. A pretty good debut. He kept a clean sheet, so that's perfect for him. I've been told he also has a pretty long throw-in, which could be useful in some set-piece situations. We look back at Kofi Barmer's long throw last season, and that got us some pretty important goals. Walsall at home, it got us a goal, Notts County away, and some other ones as well. So that could be another tactic up Johnny Jackson's sleeve. Another change in the lineup, which I could see happening. I maybe think James Ball could possibly get out of the lineup. I'd love to see either Callum Maycock or Williams come in that centre mid role. I think Callum Maycock is really good on the ball. He loves driving forward. He loves to find a pass. He did pretty well in the first half at Bromley in the Carabao Cup game on the Tuesday night. So I think, and when you look at the through ball that he made for Josh Kelly's goal against Cheltenham in pre-season, I think he just adds that more attacking threat into the team. He drives forward. James Ball doesn't really do that. Yes, he's scored a goal. It was a bit of a fluke, but I think Callum Maycock, he's signed from Solihull. He's definitely ready for the step up into League 2. Played well against Bromley, so I think he definitely maybe deserves to start. Morgan Williams, I think, could also maybe make a start. Played well against Wickham on Tuesday night, so I think we could definitely see Morgan Williams possibly come in. I've always highly rated Morgan Williams. He played his debut for Wimbledon in the starting 11 for the men's team against Chelsea last season, and he absolutely played a blinder. He was so good against Chelsea away from home, so I think he also deserves a start. But it's good to see that we have this squad depth in midfield. We have the depth. I think we have pretty much depth everywhere now. The defence, I don't think we maybe need to make anyone. I think maybe a replacement for Jake Reeves, a type of player which will drop back, ping balls about and stuff like that. I think maybe if we could get a signing which is similar to Jake Reeves, that can sit on the bench, and if he gets injured, because he did get injured for a couple games last season, I believe it was around January, February, so that would be maybe the signing which we need to go for. But I think it won't be many changes, maybe one or two. It could even be the exact same as we did against Bromley. So I think something does need to change a little bit. As I said, I think Harbottle will come in. He looked pretty solid against Wickham, and then maybe a midfield change. Keep Smith in there. Keep Jake Reeves, obviously, but then maybe change Ball for Maycock or Williams. Let me know down your thoughts in the comments as well about that. I'd love to hear them. But I just think that gives us a little bit more attacking threat. What do I think will happen in this game? The final thing to talk about. I think Wimbledon will win. Yes, against Bromley, we really didn't look good. It really wasn't a good watch. The Wickham game was good. Hopefully gives some confidence into the players that could have played that game and that will start against Bromley, even though it might be a pretty much changed lineup. But I think we still look good. We still look a threat. We just need to use our formation well. We need to get good crosses into the box. That's all we're trying to do, just play it out wide. It sometimes just worries me a little bit that it feels like every single game we're going to play the same formation. We're going to play the 5 at the back or 3 at the back with wing backs. So it kind of scares me that maybe there isn't a plan B, maybe there isn't a change of formation that could be used. But I think you could easily play a 4-4-2. You could easily play something completely different. You could play a diamond with the squad that we have easily. So I think there is a lot of options for formations and other players to come in, which would suit their formation more. But yeah, that's it for the match preview for AFC Wimbledon versus Cheltenham on Saturday. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts on what you think will happen in the game. Who do you think will start? And if you think we'll win the game. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 2,000 subscribers. Hopefully get that before the end of the season or Christmas, whatever it may be, however long it takes us. But yeah, see you on Saturday. There will be a match day vlog, of course. And yeah, come on, you dons.